Hey guys, Monke AU here with another video, and today we're going to be matchmaking and predicting UFC International Fight Week 2025. This should take place in June, I think, so it's probably going to be UFC 316. And yeah, I'm going to stack this card. I'm going to make it really big. Mainly all of the guys on this card are going to be champions or guys who have fought for the belt, ex-champions, big names. I want to make this a really stacked card. But yeah, the first fight, beginning the main card, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. Yeah, for this fight, I personally think that Rountree Jr. will win a decision, but here's the thing. I don't think either of these guys knock each other out. I don't think Hill has that knockout power anymore necessarily, and better yet, he's not going to be able to knock out Khalil, because Khalil, against Pereira, he wasn't knocked out cold, right? He just got hit to the body, and his nose was destroyed, his face was disgusting, and he eventually went down, kind of on his own will. Like, he gave up, but that wasn't him being knocked out. That's different. And Hill, in his last fight against Prohaska, he was looking good, but the thing is that I think working the body is not a good strategy for a 3-round fight, because I just think that Khalil, put it this way, if Hill, keeps punching the body and is dipping his head every time, there is a chance that Khalil could just throw a kick and catch him and then rock him pretty badly. But still, I don't think either of these guys will knock each other out necessarily, because I don't think Rountree has that Prohaska knockout power either to get rid of Jamahal Hill. But who knows, if you can get one slick slip and then hit Hill, he might go down, but I don't think so. This fight was originally booked for 303. I don't think either of these guys, there's no beef in this fight or anything like that, but this is a high caliber matchup, and people are going to want to tune in to see this, because people are going to want to, unfortunately, they're going to want to see Jamahal Hill's downfall, and also they're going to want to see Khalil potentially moving up into the top 5, because I think right now he's currently number 7 still. So people are going to want to tune into this fight, and who knows, Jamahal Hill fans, they're going to want to see their guy come back. Do I think this is enough of a turnaround for Hill, realistically, since he fought in January, and this is June? Yeah, he can probably bounce back within 5 months. I think he can pull it off. But yeah, that'll be interesting. My next fight, Dion versus Sean O'Malley 2. Yeah, for this fight, I think Sean O'Malley isn't going to be destroyed, right? Because the first fight was actually pretty competitive, and it is very controversial as to who really won that fight. Personally, I think Dion probably won that fight. I think he probably barely won, or not barely, but I think he won round 2. He definitely lost round 3, and he probably won round 1. So because of that, I don't know. But that's the thing. The intrigue is here. This is going to be a number 1 contender fight for bantamweight. Is that fair? Maybe. I mean, yeah, it is fair, because O'Malley, say what you want, I guess he is a pretty big star, and Dion getting the O'Malley win back would be huge for him, because all things considered, O'Malley isn't just he's not bad, right? I mean, he knocked out Aljo. He was actually pretty competitive with Merab, which is surprising considering how badly Umar did. And in the meantime, honestly, I don't think there's a clear number 1 guy for Merab at the moment. So frankly, he could fight Pantoja for his next title defense. So in the meantime, I think we should do this one as a number 1 contender fight. I think Jan will probably win this fight, because he's going to mix in the takedowns and mix in that judo, or those judo takedowns, the kind that we saw against Figueiredo in his last fight, which caught me totally off guard. I don't think O'Malley is going to be able to counter that necessarily. I think he's got a lot of work to do on his wrestling if he wants to ever get that belt back. But if he's dedicated, he might be able to do enough and scramble to put Dion, or to stop Dion's advances. Concerning the striking, I think O'Malley is going to have the slight edge, but I think he's going to have his success is going to be there whenever he's in range, like going in and out, in and out. Dion, I think the closer he gets to O'Malley, his chances of success are going to go up exponentially, because if he's going to be fighting in the clinch, elbows, spinning things, punches, it's going to be way better for him in the pocket as compared to O'Malley. But I think this is probably going to be a close 29-28. I don't think O'Malley gets more, like I said, but I've just got Dion's got momentum. O'Malley really didn't look that. He performed well against Merab, but he just mentally wasn't necessarily in the greatest place. Like, it's a really bad look when your coach is saying, "Come on, O'Malley, you're nearly there." Like, bro, we don't want to hear that. We want to hear him. We want to hear you go out there, get a finish. So this is a mindset thing, but still, I think this will be a really good fight to add to the pay-per-view. Third fight, Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway 2. Stylistically, I think this fight is actually somewhat similar to the Petr Yan O'Malley fight in that Holloway, he's going to be the rangier striker who's going to go in, out, and piece him up with big power, right? But Oliveira, especially after the second Chandler fight, dude, if he implements his wrestling against Holloway, he can probably take him down pretty easily. And this is the problem. It's going to be a massive uphill battle for Holloway as soon as Charles gets close to him, because the problem with Charles is that he's really ruthless when it comes to the body knees and hitting you in the clinch. And also, now that you have to worry about the takedown, if he puts him on the ground, there's a good chance that he could hit him with I don't know how many submissions he could hit him with, So Holloway, he's got a lot of work to do. This would probably be the second hardest fight of his career, but this is a clear number one contender fight for lightweight, because Holloway, even though he did lose to Topuria, he beat Gaethje when Gaethje was the number one guy, and that win, it doesn't matter how long ago it was, that's a great win, So for him, technically, he already beat the number one guy at lightweight. Oliveira is coming back after a win over Chandler in a very close fight with Sarukian, so this is another number one contenders fight for lightweight. I also think we should put the BMF belt on the line for this one, because this is like a worthy BMF fight, because Oliveira, he's a badass guy. I mean, come on, 20 finishes in the UFC, most fight of the night bonuses. This is going to be a competitive fight. That being said, though, again, I think Holloway's route to victory is probably a decision over 5 rounds, but the problem is this is 5 rounds with Oliveira, which is going to be tricky. Now, obviously, it's doable, right? I mean, Chandler did it, and I think obviously Max would do way better than Chandler, because I think a Holloway at lightweight probably carries more power when strategically used than Chandler, and I think, who knows, he could probably rock Oliveira at moments, and if he does implement, body kicks and this like that and things like that, he might get Oliveira. I don't think he puts him away though, but he might be able to get a decision. It's possible. That being said though, I think Oliveira will be smart about this, and knowing the danger that Max presents every single time, will engage with him on the feet for a bit, because he's crazy, right? I mean, he engaged with Gaethje on the feet and knocked him down, which was just nuts. But I think the longer the fight goes on, there's just way more opportunities for Oliveira to sub Max, and over 25 minutes, I just don't know whether it's possible. Then again, I think I'd have to rewatch the second Oliveira Chandler fight, because even though I called it, I called Oliveira by decision, it's kind of crazy to think that he didn't finish Chandler in that fight. So I don't know, if they keep it standing, Holloway could win this, but I don't know. Still, this is going to be a crazy fight, legacy fight, because obviously Oliveira wants to get this win back. And yeah, I think this is the perfect fight to be made for International Fight Week. And, based on real life stuff, I think this could actually happen realistically. Because Max said he's down, Oliveira said he's down. This will be a crazy fight. And also, it's enough time ever since the Holloway knockout where he's able to bounce back. Because that was probably, I think that was in October. And this fight will be in June. So that's like, 3/4 of a year bounce back. So that's good. Anyway, co-main event, DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, big thing, obviously, can Chimaev fight in the US? Yeah, I reckon. I think Trump will probably give him the visa or whatever. But here's the thing with this fight that's really intriguing. DDP, after that fight against Strickland in the rematch, there's no doubts with his hands anymore, because the thing is he didn't even implement any takedowns in that one. He knows that he can outstrike people. So when it comes to the striking, I'm going to give DDP the advantage. But here's the thing, Khamzat, with the wrestling, is just so good, So if he just shoots a takedown from across the octagon and immediately gets DDP, he's in trouble. But, here's the thing. You're only as good as your last performance, right? And Khamzat in his last performance was incredible. But I think there's something to be said with the fact that, obviously, Whittaker, his jaw wasn't 100%, right? And all things considered, if my memory serves me right, he got taken down probably 30 seconds in. But then there was about 2 minutes when Khamzat was on top, and eventually he got that arm on the chin, not under, but on the chin, right? And who's to say that if Whittaker had a 100% jaw, who's to say that, I'm not saying he would have won that fight, but still, it's possible that he just would have ridden out the round and then, keep surviving. And then as the fight goes on, if anyone who goes against Chimaev in a 5-rounder, their chances of success goes up exponentially. You know, because say what you want, Gilbert Burns took him to a close decision, all things considered. And I know that was at welterweight, but still, I mean, Usman arguably took Chimaev to a draw. I'm not saying he's overrated, obviously not, but you know, I'm actually really tempted to change my pick here, but the point, what I'm getting at is that the longer the fight goes on, the more likely DDP is to win. So realistically, if you're going to say Kazmat's going to win, you've got to be realistic and say this happens within the first 2 rounds max. Round 3, I think his chances of submission is probably like 25% at that point. Like, it's not good. DDP's route to victory, I think, is obviously just riding out the first 2 rounds and then eventually piecing up Kazmat to a decision. And the thing is that Kazmat isn't necessarily this, you know, elusive striker, all things considered. So it's not like DDP is going to have to be, like, you know, precise and careful about the way he throws, because against Strickland, he really couldn't just jab him. You know, he had to throw the question mark kicks over the guard and punch over and this and that. And when he broke Strickland's nose in round 4, that was round 4, right? That's 20 minutes into fighting. You know, so it's not exactly like he's 100% at that point. So that being said, I don't think DDP knocks him out. I don't think he subs him either. No way. But if he can survive the first 2 rounds, I reckon he gets another decision, and I reckon he can pull off the win against Kazmat. But for Kazmat, I don't think he knocks out DDP. I don't think he takes him to a decision. I really doubt. But because also, I mean, I've said this before, but even if it does go the distance, DDP would probably win that on points. So realistically, Kazmat has to sub him within the first 10 minutes. And Kazmat, he really doesn't have to train much, you know. He just has to do what he's doing already, and he will win. DDP, he does have a lot of work to do. Like, he's got to be all over the wrestling, stuffing takedowns, which, you know, with most guys that's easier. That's easier said than done, but Kazmat especially, because this guy just launches himself across the octagon. You know, he's almost horizontal when he does it, right? So it's going to be crazy. That being said, I think this is actually a pretty close fight, but naturally, we said the same thing about Whitaker, and look how that turned out. But then again, this is why these fights are interesting. This is a great co-main event, and yeah, I'm really excited for this fight whenever it gets made. Now, here's the thing. Main event, I've got Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, and I'm just going to explain, then I'll get into what I think afterwards. I think Jon Jones only has the wrestling advantage in this fight. Let's just be honest. Aspinall has the power, the speed, and probably the jiu-jitsu superiority, right? And honestly, I seriously don't see a way that Jon Jones wins this, because it's not like he's going to sub Aspinall, because Aspinall is a black belt, and a legitimate black belt at that, right? Even though we've only seen him sub 2 guys in the UFC, if my memory serves me right, he was so quick to get that rear naked choke against Arlovsky. It's nuts. And then also against Volkov, he was on top and listened to his corner and executed the plan perfectly and hit him with a Kimura. Jon Jones, I just don't think he can beat Aspinall. I'll just be realistic, because Jones, he can only, I don't think he TKOs Aspinall. Aspinall's way too slick for that. He could sub him, right? It's possible, but I believe in Tom's jiu-jitsu enough. So that being said, Jones would have to take him to a decision, which over 5 rounds, that's going to be tricky, you know. But Aspinall, bro, he is so quick. He could knock out Jones whenever they're not wrestling, right? That's the thing. And frankly, because of the absurd power he carries and the speed, I think Aspinall knocks him out within 3 rounds. Probably round 2 knockout. Round 2 knockout. That's what my prediction would actually be. Now, here's what I was going to say before. I don't think this fight is actually going to happen, which sucks, because you know, Jones, I think like 3 days ago, whatever, did that whole thing about announcing something big soon, and then is now doing this pharmaceutical thing, which, you know, cool. That's cool, but come on, you're the champion, man. You got to be doing big things. And frankly, at this point, it's a bit tedious. It's actually really stupid if we really think about this. I mean, he beat Stipe, good on you, but come on, dude. It's been like 2 years at this rate. Just fight the champion. Fight the interim champ. That's the job. And frankly, I think he's outpricing himself the same way he did against Ngannou. And realistically, even if he went out on a shield against Aspinall, that would do so much more for his legacy than what he's currently doing, because people are going to remember him for ducking 2 dudes, dude. And that's, you know, say what you want, Khabib didn't really duck anyone. Islam definitely didn't duck anyone. It's just, it diminishes your legacy. And people are always going to have this reputation with Tom Aspinall about the guy who could have beat Jones, right? Like, the same way that people like myself think that Tony could have beat Khabib, because that fight never happened. But Tony at the time, he was that guy and he could have done it, you know? So I think this seriously hurts his legacy. If this fight does get made, though, this will make this pay-per-view insane and everyone and their dog would watch it. So I really hope they can pull it off, but I honestly don't think it's going to happen. So with that being said, I've got an alternate main event, which is Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, and I think this might be a little controversial. I think Ilia knocks him out, I'll be honest, because I think Ilia's striking, it's weird because he's not a volume guy. He's obviously going to wait you out, and here's the thing. This is the really deceptive thing about Topuria. I'm going to predict probably a round 4 KO, because the way it is he'll let you win, or not let you, but he will lose the first 2 rounds, right? He'll get pieced up, and in this case, he'll try to stuff some takedowns, and even if he does, you know, get taken down, he'll ride out the round, because there's no way he's getting subbed. Unless it's a DAS, but because Islam just seems to be filthy with the DASs these days. But I just think that Ilia, it's going to be this thing, kind of like with Holloway, in that he'll make you think that you're doing well. And this sucks to say, believe me, I wanted Holloway to win that fight so bad, but Ilia just beat him fair and square. He'll put you in a lull, and then when you're feeling comfortable, he'll close the distance and you won't even know it, and then you'll be knocked out, you know? And I'm not gonna say that, well, Islam's been knocked out once before, therefore, like, I don't think that's not the logic I'm using, but come on, dude, if Dustin Poirier can take you to round 5, could you even imagine if it was Ilia instead? Seriously, just picture, you have to admit, if it's Ilia versus Islam in round 5, bro, Ilia's chances are way higher than Islam's at that point. And realistically, I don't think Islam subs him, nor do I think he knocks him out. He could catch him with a head kick. That is actually possible now I think about it. But that would have to be perfectly executed, you know? And the thing with Ilia is that he's going to know that going into this fight. And also, if Islam throws it and misses or it glances off, dude, say goodbye to hitting that thing again, because he can't hit the same. Lightning doesn't strike twice, right? So Islam's chances to victory, I'd probably say, is mainly going to be a decision if we're being realistic. But he could knock out Ilia, but that's a massive if, or massive could, rather. But Ilia, I don't think he subs Islam. And I think his wrestling's going to be worse, to the point where he probably will be taken down once or twice, but the guy's good, right? The guy's really good. And also, he's going to have Merab in his corner. He's going to have Merab teaching him, you know, and look at how the last fight turned out. And I just think he's on a roll. He really is. I mean, Islam, even though he looks slick against Moicano, I just think Ilia's more dominant. I mean, seriously, the only time he went to a massive decision was against Emmett, and just look, he hit, I think, a 10-7 round maybe against Emmett, which is just ridiculous, right? I mean, just look at his face, bro. I believe in Ilia at this point, and I think he's gonna knock out Islam. Also, the press conference alone for this fight would be legendary. I mean, seriously, could you even imagine if they had all 5 of these fights for the press conference? Or just the fight alone? It'd be crazy. I really hope they can pull this off. Now, I've heard rumors that apparently it's going to be for 314. It could be, you know, if it is, that's going to be nuts. But if it's not, then this definitely, if Aspinall Jones can't be done, this should definitely be the best fight. And also, you can't say that Islam is going to fight another featherweight, because, I mean, let's be honest, who else is there? Oliveira and Holloway? I tell you what, listen, if Holloway somehow pulls off the win against Oliveira, hypothetically, and showed he's got incredible wrestling defense, maybe make that fight. And frankly, against Oliveira, I think that's a good fight as well. But the thing is like, these two guys, they both need one more win to get that fight. But Ilia's here, he's ready to go. And also, Arman, he messed up. He lost his chance. Ilia's the guy. And, you know, I heard other people saying this, but let's be real. If Islam beats Ilia, that's going to do so much for his legacy. That's the equivalent of Merab beating Umar, right? Because you have this seemingly unstoppable force. And imagine if Islam just went out there and made easy work of Ilia, right? That would confirm him as the greatest lightweight ever. Not like he already isn't, but it's, you know, high risk, high reward. This is why these fights should get made. And yeah, I'm really excited for this, and especially with the drama that's been built between, you know, the whole Georgia-Russia thing. This is going to be intense, and this will be a great fight, you know. But yeah, that being said, I think Ilya by knockout. So yeah, that just about does it for the video, guys. Leave a comment below saying what other fights do you think they should add. I do have some ideas for the prelims, but you know, I'm trying to keep the video within reasonable length. Leave a like, and yeah, check out my other videos. I'll be making more in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video.